The Chicago Bears' stunning 31-27 comeback victory over the Green Bay Packers sent them into the divisional round of the NFC playoffs, but the emotional high of the win was quickly tempered by sobering news from the locker room. Shortly after the game, head coach Ben Johnson confirmed what many feared as linebacker T.J. Edwards was carted off the field earlier in the night. Edwards suffered a fractured fibula and will miss the remainder of the postseason. The injury is a significant blow to a Bears defense that has relied heavily on Edwards' leadership, intelligence, and consistency throughout the season. While Chicago once again proved it can overcome adversity, this particular loss presents a far more complex challenge than any in-game deficit. Edwards was injured early in the second quarter while pursuing Packers wide receiver Christian Watson. As the play developed, Edwards' lower leg became trapped beneath Watson's body, bending awkwardly as both players went to the ground. The reaction from Edwards was immediate and concerning. Trainers rushed onto the field, and he was fitted with an air cast before being carted to the locker room for further evaluation. Initially listed as doubtful to return, Edwards was officially ruled out later in the game. After the Bears completed their improbable rally, Ben Johnson delivered the final diagnosis, a fractured fibula that would end Edwards' season. For Chicago, the loss goes far beyond a single player missing snaps. Edwards has been one of the emotional and tactical centers of the defense, serving as the unit's primary communicator and on-field organizer. His absence fundamentally alters how the Bears will need to operate defensively moving forward. Edwards' statistical production only partially reflects his value. In 10 regular season games, he recorded 67 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, half a sack, and an interception. But his real impact came between the numbers and before the snap. Edwards routinely handled alignment responsibilities, adjusted coverages based on offensive motion, and helped younger players stay in position during high-pressure situations. In Ben Johnson's defensive structure, linebackers are tasked with more than physical execution. They must diagnose plays quickly, understand route combinations, and relay information across the front seven. Edwards excelled in those areas, making him indispensable, particularly against division rivals like Green Bay that thrive on misdirection and timing. The Bears' defensive performance against the Packers illustrated both Edwards' importance and the challenge ahead without him. Chicago struggled early, allowing Green Bay to build a 21-3 lead as the Packers repeatedly capitalized on fourth down opportunities. Even amid those struggles, Edwards was visibly active, communicating assignments and attempting to settle a defense under siege. Once Edwards left the game, the responsibility shifted to veteran DeMarco Johnson, who stepped in alongside Tremaine Edmunds. Johnson is expected to assume Edwards' starting role for the remainder of the postseason. While he brings experience and physicality, he does not offer the same level of command or familiarity with the system. The Bears' remaining linebacker depth further complicates the situation. Amen. Ogbongbemiga and rookie Ruben Hippolyte-Sigu were both unavailable against Green Bay due to concussions, limiting Chicago's flexibility even before Edwards' injury. Their availability moving forward remains uncertain, placing additional strain on a unit already facing increased responsibility. From a schematic standpoint, Edwards' absence may force the Bears to simplify their defensive approach. That could mean fewer disguise-heavy looks, more conservative zone coverages, and an increased emphasis on keeping plays in front of the defense. While that strategy can reduce catastrophic mistakes, it also allows opposing offenses to control tempo and methodically move the ball. Playoff opponents are particularly adept at identifying and exploiting weaknesses. Without Edwards orchestrating adjustments, opposing quarterbacks will likely test the middle of the field with crossing routes, running backs in space, and tempo-driven series designed to create confusion. The Bears' ability to respond will depend on how quickly Johnson and the coaching staff can recalibrate the defense around its remaining personnel. There is also a leadership void to consider. Edwards has been one of the more respected voices in the locker room, setting the tone with preparation and toughness. His presence carried weight during a season filled with adversity, injuries, and close games. Losing that voice at this stage of the year is not easily replaced. Still, the Bears' season has been defined by resilience. Their wild-card victory over Green Bay was not an isolated event, but rather the latest example of a team that refuses to fold. Chicago erased an 18-point deficit, scored 25 points in the fourth quarter, and delivered one of the most dramatic playoff wins in franchise history. That mental toughness will be tested again without Edwards. From a broader perspective, the injury also raises questions about durability and roster planning. Edwards, now 29, was limited to 10 games during the regular season due to various injuries. While he remained highly effective when on the field, his health has been an ongoing concern. For a Bears team transitioning from rebuilding to contending, depth and durability at linebacker will likely be an offseason priority, regardless of how this playoff run ends. None of that diminishes what Edwards contributed in 2025. One of the defining moments of Chicago's season came in Week 17, when Edwards returned an interception 34 yards for a touchdown against the San Francisco 49ers, a play that showcased his instincts and awareness. Moments like that helped fuel the Bears' belief that they could compete with anyone. Now that belief will be tested without him. The Bears advanced to the divisional round with momentum, confidence, and a young core led by Caleb Williams, but they do so shorthanded on defense. Every playoff run requires luck, health, and timely execution. Chicago has shown it can overcome chaos, but the margin for error just became significantly thinner. Ben Johnson now faces one of the biggest coaching challenges of his young head coaching career, keeping the Bears aggressive and confident while compensating for the loss of one of their most important defensive pieces. How effectively Chicago adapts will play a major role in determining whether this season ends as a thrilling breakthrough or the foundation for something greater in the years ahead. For T.J. Edwards, the season ends in painful fashion, but his imprint on the Bears' resurgence is undeniable. His toughness, preparation, and leadership helped carry Chicago to this point. Whether the Bears can carry that standard forward without him will define the next chapter of their postseason journey. The Chicago Bears' stunning 31-27 comeback victory over the Green Bay Packers sent them into the divisional round of the NFC playoffs, but the emotional high of the win was quickly tempered by sobering news from the locker room. Shortly after the game, head coach Ben Johnson confirmed what many feared as linebacker T.J. Edwards was carted off the field earlier in the night. Edwards suffered a fractured fibula and will miss the remainder of the postseason. The injury is a significant blow to a Bears defense that has relied heavily on Edwards' leadership, intelligence, and consistency throughout the season. While Chicago once again proved it can overcome adversity, this particular loss presents a far more complex challenge than any in-game deficit. Edwards was injured early in the second quarter while pursuing Packers wide receiver Christian Watson. As the play developed,